Good afternoon, students. So, good afternoon in our social science geography class. So, in previous class you have seen in the offline video I have made a class. On this class I have described the work of sea waves, okay, the different landforms created by the sea waves. Now, today we are going to discuss the work of ice as well as the work of wind. No students, nothing to write, just open your book, it is in page number 16, chapter number 3, the work of ice, and you can underline the main points on your book. So, took a pencil on your hand and underline the important points and definitions. These are very important for exam. In term 1 exam, that be important, the definitions of different landforms created by the ice and wind. So, first you have to know what is glacier, because mainly the work of the ice is done through glaciers. What is glacier? The glaciers of ice. Okay, rivers of ice. Okay. Towards the slope. They flow towards the slope of the mountains, okay, such as these are the mountains, and between these mountains, these valleys, the glaciers, they flow. Okay. So, glaciers are the rivers of ice, and these rivers of ice, they erode the landscape by bulldozing soil and stones and expose the hard layer of the rocks in the mountains. Okay. And what is bulldozing? With this picture you can understand. So, in this way, this is the river of ice, glacier, okay, in this way, and this is the layer of the rock. So, when they came from the top of the mountain with a huge force, okay, all the ice, they slowly, the ice they stored in the top of the mountain ranges, they slowly flown towards the slope and eroded, bulldozing all the upper layer, so the soft layer of the mountains. In Himalaya is a mountain made up with sedimentary rocks. So, the uppermost sediments already eroded by the glaciers. Okay. So, in this way glaciers eroded the upper, bulldozing the layers, uppermost layer, and expose the solid rock below. And the example of the glaciers such as Siachen. Okay, Siachen is a glacier situated in northern Ladakh, and it is in the Karakoram mountains. Some said it is also Siachen, okay, Siachen or Siachen. Okay. Another glacier, that is Gangotri, and Gangotri in Uttarakhand. Okay. In Uttarakhand it was situated, and Siachen in Ladakh. Siachen situated in Ladakh, and Gangotri from where the Ganga river started flowing, it is situated in Uttarakhand, and there are hundreds of glaciers on Himalaya and other mountain ranges. So, these are glaciers. Now, we discuss what is glacial lakes. Number 2, glacial lakes. This type of glacial lakes were created by the erosion of glaciers. Glaciers carved out deep hollow, okay, between the mountains, and those regions filled up with ice melted water and become beautiful lakes in the mountains. Okay. In the two mountains, okay, when glaciers eroded the lower portion and the water melt down from the glaciers stored here and created this type of beautiful lakes, and this type of lakes are found in everywhere in Himalaya, such as Pangong So in Ladakh, Pangong So Lake in Ladakh, and also Guru Dongmar in Sikkim. So, this type of lakes are glacial lakes created by the erosion of glaciers. Yes, Mona Lisa, Hasibul. No problem. We know that because of this pandemic we cannot celebrate like previous year. We have celebrated greatly this day, but unfortunately this year we can wish only in online. So, thank you Oyantik and all of you, and best wishes to you. Read carefully in your home all these important things, and already you have internet access, so you can read through internet or you can read lot of books in home. Okay. So, know all these topics carefully, and best of luck for your future. Okay. Thank you Hasibul, Rohan, Mona Lisa, everyone. Tanisha, Soikot. Okay, thank you once again all of you. So, now back to the studies. So, what is okay, glacial lakes you have understood, I think. Thank you Shashank, Soikot also. No celebration was there, is there in this year. But if you read carefully in home and if you learn these topics and you will achieve something, and then we will happy. Okay. So, next. Okay, students are requesting to mute your microphones, because other students they cannot listen anything. Okay. Yes, students, mute your microphone, everyone. Okay. Now listen, I am discussing the number 3, it is glacial moraines. So, the material carried by glaciers such as big and small rocks, sands, pebbles, okay, and small particles, and silt. Silt means a muddy thing carried by the glaciers from the top of the mountains. Okay. All these things get deposited in the slope of the mountain when the mountain merge with the plateau or plains. Okay. So, in this way they deposited all these things carried on the from the top of the mountains. So, this is called the moraines. Okay, we can see the glacial moraines in Nepal. Okay, in Nepal we can see the glacial moraines when Himalaya merge with those the lowlands in the plains. Okay, so this is the glacial moraines when glacier carried all the stones, pebbles, silt and small and big stones and deposited. Okay. Thank you Hasibul for the beautiful picture, but right now listen to me, and after this class I will talk to you about this event. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Now listen to me. Now glacial moraines, it's completed glacial moraines. Now number 4. Now students ready? Can you listen me? Okay, so that's all from the work of ice. Okay, so if you have any question from work of ice, you can ask me. Students, if you have any question regarding work of ice, okay, no problem, very good. Hasibul, Sania, thank you. So now the next one, it is the work of winds. Number 1, you know that winds and the soil and the landforms were also created by the wind. Active agents also, it is the extrusive, it is also an agent of erosion and deposition and mostly the erosion deposition happened in the desert area where wind works and created some beautiful structures and some peculiar structures on the deserts. So this is the work of winds. Now in this work of winds we will discuss the 3 types of landforms. First one, mushroom rock. Okay. First one, mushroom rock. What is mushroom rock? That you know, in desert area, when this type of rocks were present and hard and soft layer, this is hard layer and also soft layer present. So what happened? The wind blown through the surface eroded the lower portion of the rocks, okay, eroded the lower portion of the rocks and created, and due to erosion they cannot eroded the upper portion of the rock completely. So they only eroded the lower portion, okay, and this type of landforms were created in desert. These are called mushroom rock. Okay, this type of mushroom rock you can see in the Thor desert and as well as in Arizona, in Colorado, in Utah, these types of deserts in United States of America. Okay, glacial lakes and moraine. Glacial lakes is totally different thing. Lake is a water body, and moraine is a highland created by those depositions deposited by the glacier on the slope of the mountain. Okay. So these are the difference. Rohan, what is the difference between glacial and glacial moraines? No, glacial moraines is a single word. Created by moraine, created by the glacial is called glacial moraines. Moraine is a highlands mostly, and one type is mostly seen on the slopes of the mountain in Nepal also, in Himalaya. What is the difference between glacial lakes and moraine? Okay, Oyantik, I hope you have understood. Glacial lakes are a water body and moraines are the highlands. These are not a water body. Okay, two things are totally different. When glacier eroded the between the two mountains and created a deep valley, this valley was filled up with melted ice and created glacial lakes, and glacial moraines created by the depositions, all the rocks, pebbles, okay, stones and silt they carried by the glaciers and deposited where the glacier started melting. Okay. So this place is called glacial moraines. Now Hasibul, turn off your mic and listen. So I think you have understood what is mushroom rock. Okay. So this is the picture of mushroom rock. This type of mushroom rock you can see in USA, desert region in USA as well as in Thar desert in India. Number 2 landform, it is the sand dunes. What is sand dunes? You have to know what is sand dunes. Okay. So, sand dunes are the landform also created because of the erosion and deposition of wind. You know that in the desert area, the sandstorm is a very common thing, sandstorm, and in the time of sandstorm, wind lifted and transported sand from one place to another place, and when it stopped blowing, okay, the sands fall and made hill like structures in the desert called sand dunes. Okay. Okay, so this type of sand, this type of hills like structure created by the desert, created in the desert by wind and made up with sand is called sand dunes. Okay. And why? And it is in desert area, wind is very much hot. Why? And wind blowing all the time. You know that if you give heat to the air, what happened? Air was also started blowing, hot air started blowing to the towards the cold area. So, that is why all the time in desert region the wind also blowing, very often wind blowing. So, when wind blowing, they carried all these things, sand, and deposited in another place. When the sandstorm on the wind stops, and deposited and created the hill like structure of sand is called sand dunes. Number 3, okay. Another landform created by the wind, it is the loess, and you can see sand dunes in the desert of Sahara, okay, in Gobi as well as in the desert of Thar. Now, what is loess? That when the grains of sand are very fine, okay, when the grains of sand are very fine and light weighted, they traveled a long distance with the wind and deposited in another place. Over a huge area, they deposited all the small particles of sand and formed another type of plains or landform. It is called loess. Okay. So, this type of loess were found in China and also in Kashmir Valley. This type of loess we can found. Okay. Students understood what is loess? Okay, understood everyone, the 3 landforms. So, if you have any question from these landforms, you can ask me. What I have discussed today, you can ask me question from these landforms if you have any doubt. Okay. Understood? Okay, Sania, no problem. Tanisha also understood. Okay, yes, no questions. Kashmir Valley, Kashmir, you know, this is the Union Territory. Kashmir recently formed in previous year. Okay, Kashmir Valley in the western side of Kashmir, western side of previously called Jammu and Kashmir. Now it is divided into 2 parts. Jammu and Kashmir is the Union Territory, and another one, the bigger part, it is Ladakh. Okay. And in class 6 you have already read Oyantik, so I think you have no problem. Okay, it is in Kashmir. In class 6 you have read in civics book about all this. So, I hope you have no doubt. So, thank you for watching. See you in the next class with the question answers from chapter number